right, for our warm-up today, it was really yesterday's, but it says, y'all, determine the distance between point A and point B. Remember distance formula? Again, you do not have to have this memorized. Is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. You need to label x1 and y1, x2 and y2.
I was saying something, you have to solve it, right?
Say it louder.
You have to solve it.
Yes, that's today we're solving it. Yep. So remember, I like to do my parentheses squared plus parentheses squared. And what goes in those parentheses?
X1. Oh, no, minus.
Minus signs. And then I'm going to plug in, what's x2?
-7.
-7 minus x1.
5.
And then what's y2? And y1. And yesterday we did solve these out. So we're going to put them in our calculator. Remember? Yeah, that's all we did was in our calculator. And we're going to do -7 minus 5. Close it and square it. Don't forget this plus sign in between them. It is important. And then what was it? -7 minus what? 9. Don't forget the last squared. Y'all tend to forget that last squared. And what is the answer? 20 is my answer. And that was all you had to do. We are going to do, y'all, for Tuesday, we're not going to do that until tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to do both Tuesday and Wednesday's warm-up, just because we're like a day off. Okay? So you can put your warm-up away now. Today we're going to be learning midpoint. So by the end of class, you should be able to use the midpoint formula to calculate the midpoint. And then you need to be able to given the midpoint, find another endpoint, which is what we will be taking notes on today. If you can please grab these notes right here. What is a midpoint? A midpoint is, can y'all see that? Yeah, that's a point on a line segment that divides into two equal parts. A midpoint divides into two equal parts. The midpoint is the blank of the segment. The middle or the halfway point of a line segment. So can everybody look up at my board when you're done writing? All right. For this problem right here, look up because this is not on your paper. What is AB?
3, 5, negative.
8. AB is 8. Do y'all agree that's the distance between A and B?
Yeah.
So how would I go about finding the middle of AB? Divided in half. And what's 8? Half of 8? 4. Now, is 4 my answer? Why not? That is how far the midpoint is. Is that where my middle is? Where is the middle? 1, 2, 3, 4 is at what?
1.
The midpoint, which is 1. Okay? I need y'all to be careful. The most common wrong answer, Yuri, would be if I were to, a lot of y'all like to give me 4 as the answer. Y'all divide by 2 and you're like, cool, divided by 2, that's halfway. That's how far it is. That's not where the actual point is at. So please make sure you then go that much. So let's look at your paper now. For your paper, it says, and by the way, 1, please make sure you're using pencil. 2, I would write lightly because we're going to erase on this. What's the coordinate of the midpoint? B and D. So B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Man, that was long. Did y'all all get 18?
Yeah.
B to D was 18. What do I now need to do? Divide it by 2. And what's 18 divided by 2? Is that my answer?
No.
What do I do with that 9?
Right.
1. You could do that. I'm now just going to go over 9. 2, 3, 4.
9. 1.
Where do I end up at?
1.
1 is my answer. So do you see how that last step some people will forget? All right. I want you to do 2 and 3. I'm going to erase all this just so it doesn't get too confusing. I'll give you 1 minute to do 2 and 3. Go. Oh, here you go. This fell off. All right, for this next one, how far was C from D? How far was, answer my questions. C from D was how far? 6. And 6 divided by 2. Are we going to divide by 2 every time?
No.
Why? Because I'm looking for the halfway point. 6 divided by 2 is? Is 3 my answer? I need to go 1, 2, 3, and where do I end up at? All right, last one. What's the coordinate of the midpoint of C and F? So from C to 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to F. Then what?
Divided by 2.
And I get 5. And then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where do I end up at? -1. How do we feel about a number line?
Good.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy? Okay. What about not on a number line? What about a graph? So I would like you to plot A and B with me, please. A is at -3, 7. And please label that A. And B is at 7, 7. Please label that B. And if you have trouble graphing, just look up. Make sure you're with me on this. How am I going, or how is it different finding the midpoint on a graph versus a number line? Say that louder. Birthday girl. It's a point. There's not going to be a difference if it's a flat line. If I connect these, do you agree I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then what am I going to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what's the big difference here compared to what we just did? Instead of having a number on the number line, what is my answer going to be? 2 numbers. It's going to be a point. Well, what point is this right here? 2, 7 is my answer. Does that make sense? Okay, let's do one more. A is already done. Let's plot D, -3, -3. I would like you to find the midpoint. Go.
And other things look like gray.
Why do they what? Like, why are they shiny? Because of I have a light on right here. Yeah, if I would have turned it off. Oh, I guess oh, there you go. How far is it from A to D?
5, 10.
10 again. So halfway would be 5. What point is that at? -3, 2. I want you to do the next 2 on your own. Go. And if you need help plotting points, I am going to plot them for you. I'll be right there. What's your last name? I'll give you another 30 seconds. Jump. Sit down. You have plenty of time to go to him and just do it. X and Y isn't a very far line segment, is it?
No.
How far did it go?
2.
So where would the midpoint go?
In the middle.
Right in the middle at 1, right? Where is that at? 7, 2. Do you see a trend on these points at all?
Mm-hmm.
What do you notice?
That whatever they have matching up, staying on that side of the answer.
Yeah, whatever they have matching up. Do you see how both of these have 2? Then my answer has a 2. Both of these have X is -3. My answer is -3. These both have 7. My answer is 7. That works if it's a straight line up and down or a straight line left to right. For this next one, XK, how far was that?
8.
8. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do I end up at? And again, they both start with 6. So how would I find the other number? What would be a trick to finding the other number? -6 minus 2 plus 2. You're getting somewhere. We'll talk about it. Y'all are getting somewhere. Turn your paper over for me real quick. What if it is not a flat line or a line straight up and down? What am I going to do? Say that louder. I can do rise over run. Do you agree that I could make a triangle out of this? Yeah. Let's figure out my rise here is 1, 2, 3, 4. My run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But how does that help me find the midpoint? What should I do to find the midpoint?
Find the middle.
Say that louder, Denise. Louder. Divide it by 2. What is 4 divided by 2? Let's go 2 down. What is 8 divided by 2? 4. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And where they go, I am going to meet them in the middle.
Pretty cool.
And what point is that now at?
2,
2, 2 is my answer. That is pretty cool, huh? If a lot of times when I ask people what we learned in geometry, what did they like the best? A lot of people say they like midpoint because it's easy. I want you to do the next one on your own. I'll give you 45 seconds. You're going halfway. She was talking. She blew. Do rise over run and then go halfway. And then your answer is what point do you end up at? Talk to each other about the brain. She was talking. Yes. Actually, let me take that. Yep, I'll take it. The paper. Okay. How much did you rise?
8.
8. How much did you run?
2.
4. And so to go halfway, you're going to go
2. 4. 2.
And where do they meet at? What point is that at? Be careful.
0, -1.
0, -1. 0, -1. Now, what questions can I answer about that? Use tape. What questions can I answer? Okay, look down at the other ones. What if I don't give you a graph? No. Okay. If I don't give you a graph, I need you to put this paper to the side. We're going to come back to it. And I need you to get out the paper that looks like this. If I don't give you a graph, we are going to do something called midpoint formula. Everybody box this formula for me. Box this formula. It's really not complicated. It looks complicated, but I promise it's not. This formula, just like distance formula, has x1, x2, and y1 and y2. But what's different about it? What are my x's doing this time? What are my x's doing? They're adding. We are going to be adding our x's and y's instead of subtracting like y'all are used to. All right. Another difference is obviously it has divided by now, right? Last thing, right out here. Can you write equals? Your midpoint is not going to be just a number. What is your midpoint going to be?
Point.
A point. So whatever your answer is, you should be getting a point for it. All right, so let's go through. I bet you y'all are going to really like this. Like, I'll watch. Number 1, find the midpoint between the 2 points. We are still going to label our x's and y's. x1, y1, x2, y2. Now we are going to plug into the formula. M equals parentheses. When you're doing this one, midpoint, you're going to have a comma, and you are going to add and divide by 2. Add and divide by 2. We are going to do that, but you cannot put the whole thing now. Oh my goodness. The drama over here. Let's see, that's not going to work, but we're going to do it for now. What is my x1?
2.
2. What's my x2? Y'all, you just add your x's. What are your y's? 8 and add your y's. Now, I know some of you are looking at this like, I don't need my calculator for this. Maybe you can do 2 plus 6 in your head and divide it by 2. But just in case we want to make sure we get it right, I would like you, when you put it in your calculator, can everybody look up real quick? When you put this in your calculator, look up, don't write down, just look. Oh, I don't think your calculator can do this. Let's see if it can.
Here's your point.
What? Oh, last period it wouldn't do it. Where's the point?
Yes.
Oh, it does do it. Okay, you just have to have parentheses. Interesting. Last period it didn't work. I told them it wouldn't do it. Oops. 2 plus 6. Okay, that's why. If you don't put parentheses, what is it? 8 plus 10 divided by 2. If you don't put parentheses, it just gives you that. Okay, so this is what we did last period. A couple things I want to talk about. When you're doing this in your calculator, y'all look up. Hit the divided by symbol first. If you don't, you run the risk of saying 2 plus 6 divided by 2. Is that right?
Oh.
No. If you hit the divided by symbol first, then you know those go on top and that goes on bottom. And then we hit enter and then do it again for the second one. 8 plus 10 divided by 2. I do it 2 separate ones, but as you can see, if you remember the parentheses, your calculator will do it for you. So what's my answer here? 4 comma 9 is my answer. I want you to do number 2 on your own. I will give you 1 minute. Go. Add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2. I'm gonna take my shoe off today. That just happened this period. How sad. I like these shoes. Getting a decimal is okay. Don't be nervous just because you got a decimal. What are your x's? 9 and 5, 5 and 9. Sit down, please. What are your y's? -2, -1. And now we're just going to put these into our calculator. Shh, boys. Divided by 5 plus 9 divided by... Whoa. Don't do that. 5 plus 9 divided by 2. And then we got -2 plus -1 divided by 2. What is my point? What is my midpoint? 7, -1.5. Could you turn it into a fraction?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you have to? No, I'm perfectly fine with you leaving it a decimal. Okay? All right. Can you please read to yourself example 3? What are the instructions? How is example 3 different than what we've been doing? It gave you the midpoint. Everybody circle this M right here. It gave you M. I'm not asking you to find M. So you are not going to use the formula. What we are going to do instead is we are going to make a table. If I give you M, you need to make a table. Your M should go in the middle of the table. And then the other endpoint should go up top. Write this down, please. This question gives you the midpoint and one endpoint and wants you to find the other endpoint. What can I do on my table to figure out the other point? I can do my carrots. Those of you that are kind of new to my class, this is what I call carrots. How do I go from 5 to -1? Subtract 6. And if you're unsure, use this number line. If I'm at 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get to -1. So you are going to continue that again. Do it again. If I'm at -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do I end up at? -7. You are just figuring out the pattern. What about the pattern on this side? How do you go from 2 to 6? So I'm going to continue the pattern. If I add 4 again, it's going to be 10. So where is my other endpoint at? 10, -7. What questions do I have about that? You are just finding the pattern on the table. You only do this if I give you one midpoint and you're looking for the other endpoint. Last question. What's the midpoint of B and E? Louder?
1.
1 is my answer. It goes 8. What's half of 8? 4. Make sure you don't write 4 as your answer. Then you need to go 4 and get your answer. All right, we have exactly 19 minutes left in class. 19. What you are going to do with those 19 minutes. Can I change this? Did you write everything down? All right. You are going to add page 9 to your notebook. And then you are going to finish the back of this paper right here. So finish the back, add page 9, glue it in, and then finish the back of the paper. Go. Y'all do at your desk. Say again? You stole it? I hope you didn't steal it. Yeah. Oh. All right, you're gluing on page 9. Page 9. And then you're doing 3 through 8 in your notes.
You went to 2, right? Okay, so 6.